DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
All right, we are back for session number 2 tonight. If you are just joining us on Facebook, thank you for joining us. Down in the description, you're going to find links, lots of links. And the second one with Justin Miller is what we're there. We're over here on YouTube. That's where our chat room is tonight. So we're here. We're back. How you doing?
Good. How are you, John?
I'm doing well. Doing very, very well.
I don't have, first off, I don't have the cool backdrop, though. I just got books and stuff. They're a lot cheaper than trussing.
And I've got my Huey Lewis and the News vinyl back here. So, I mean, yeah, we don't have the cool stuff like Matt did. That's pretty impressive. But for those of you, we were just talking about Matt's system, and if you didn't see the first show, you need to go and click on that to go see his back, all the trussing and such. We both looked at that and said, "Oh man, it makes us tired." I think that's yeah. Ben, we've done big show, not that big, but I mean, I've done big shows, but yeah.
We won't talk about my laziness. There's a reason that I'm known for having systems and things.
Yeah, precisely, and yeah. So let's talk about Mobile Meet Las Vegas is coming up. Justin is going to be presenting, one of the many presenters. You can see the full schedule if you go down in the description. The Mobile Meet Las Vegas full schedule link, it's down there. Check that out because they've got a lot of great stuff that's going to be coming up. What are you going to be talking about at this year's show?
Well, yeah, it looks like I'm on Thursday morning this year, and the title is 10x your rate, which is probably going to invoke a lot of emotions in some people right off the bat, wondering what the heck I'm talking about. But I'm going to lead people through a process to get higher dollar figures should they choose to. So on our segment here today, I'm going to share there's really 3 different ways to raise your rates, quote unquote. And I'll kind of give you most of the details on those. And then at Mobile Beat, we're going to dig into the third one. So when we get there, I'll kind of tell you what that's all about. But there's right ways and wrong ways to do it. And before I dig into the actual 3 ways, I have a couple of warnings. So we aren't doing this blindly, and I'm not destroying people's businesses. Okay.
Do we need a little asterisk here?
We do need a disclaimer because if we just do this blindly, it's not going to end well.
Great. I always love shows that we have to put disclaimers in. Usually it's because we are going to insult or alienate someone.
No, that's not what this one is. So there's 2 things I am going to assume, though, in order for you to use any of these techniques. And the first one is I assume you have a lead flow into your business, meaning you have consistently new leads you're generating and coming in already. If we don't have that in place, we have a lead generation issue, which is something completely different. That other people can help you with. I can as well, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. So I assume you have leads coming in the door. So given that, the second one I have to assume is you have a quality service that's worthy of a higher price point. If we have those 2 things in place, we're golden.
And that would be an awesome topic, not for right now, to be able to identify if you have a quality service. Because you really think about it, and you and I both know DJs out there who are like, I'm the best one in my market. And from what we see of video and if there was a measuring stick of some sort, that they wouldn't. So it's a good topic.
I won't take the left turn, but I will say one thing about it real quick. The only thing that matters is what your customer thinks.
Yeah, very much so. But this is I'm making notes for a future show. Sorry. So
there we go. So we got the next segment.
We got the next one where we do.
What I think about your service doesn't matter. So who cares? Honestly, what you think about your service doesn't matter too.
There's the key is what it's about. Yeah, and that's one that everyone thinks, oh, we're so good. Okay, tangent. Right. Sorry, my bad. So there's three areas we're going to talk about.
Okay, so the first one is what most people think about, and I call this one either the unilateral price raise or the market adjustment. And there's a couple of reasons this happened. This really is as close as it gets to blindly raising your price. Okay. So either we're doing it for one of a couple of different reasons. Either one, we just want more money in our pocket and it's time for a raise. Some businesses have annual price increases that would fall in this category. Okay. Or the second one's a market adjustment where we're charging too little to start with. Okay, so we really are, compared to our competition, underpriced.
What are you going to use as a barometer to know if you're underpriced? You mentioned let's talk about a couple of those.
Yeah, so we know we're underpriced. I mean, if you've been in the business for any period of time, you know your local competitors, you know who you're competing against to work for. If you're offering a similar service and I suppose you could be 10, 20% under if that's your technique, if that's intentional. But if you're 40% less than them and you really think you're offering the same service, we have an issue there.
Yeah.
It's not necessary, and likely you're turning away a lot of work. That's how you would know, right? If you're not turning away work, the market's telling you something. Your price is probably high enough, if not too high.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one.
Sense.
Definitely.
So, I mean, that's really all there is to that. That's not a very exciting one, but it is necessary. So, and that's free money, by the way. That's an easy one to do if you are in that situation where the market's telling you it's time to raise the price. But that kind of balances and leads into our second one as well. The second one is what I call demand equalization. So this is supply and demand. It's basic econ, and that really is. Here's the problem. A lot of people think about this backwards. So they think if we lower our prices, we get more customers.
Yep.
True to an extent. Not necessarily the best thing to do. And then on the converse, if we increase our prices, we get less customers. True to an extent as well. As general trends, I will agree with that. And where this comes into play in the DJ business, I'll give you an example in my own business 2 or 3 months ago. We're not a huge business. We only have 2 or 3 DJs at any given point in time and a bunch of part-time staff. We had a DJ I unfortunately had to terminate back in October or November, which was going to put me down. Our onboarding process is very slow. In order to get a DJ up and running, it's very slow here. It takes a lot of time. So I knew that come wedding season here, at least the beginning of it in 2017, we were going to be down a DJ.
Right.
So like the day after the staff member was terminated, the prices went up 35-40% here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm hearing a lot more no's now, but that's okay because I have less dates to fill now. So that's demand equalization. If there's a reason that all of a sudden it's changed, or it works the other way too. Maybe we hired a new guy and we want to get them work, so we get them busy, we get them experience. Okay, we probably should offer something with a little lower price point to get them rolling there. I'm seeing some comments roll in here. I don't know if you're keeping an eye on those.
No, I haven't been. I've been kind of listening here pretty intently.
Yeah, so I mean, someone here says clients are telling them they're not charging enough. We listen. Very good. Normally, they don't tell you. By the way, they're happy to bargain.
There are some. I think there are some keys that you can pick up.
Yeah. It starts with feedback survey. You should have a feedback survey at some point. And, there's been a couple floating around that have been prominent from DJs. And there was always a question on there. Did you, get less, equal to, or more than you paid for?
Yeah.
Which is a great barometer. It really is. So if everyone's saying they're getting more than they paid for, it's worth experimenting with. It's not a sure thing. It doesn't mean people are going to pay more, actually.
Yeah.
So they're two different things, but it definitely is a key indicator of that. Let's see. How else would your customer tell you to raise the price? See, I think most of the time they're just gonna,
Well, there've been numerous times where you're doing a performance and you do a great job and such, and if they're willing to come up and tip you another 20% on top of what you charged, that might be an indicator that you are worth more. In their eyes, you were worth more than what you were charging, and I've heard that numerous times from DJs who. Wow, they tipped me like twice my rate. It's like, yeah. Because
one of two things going on. If you're a single op, that's you're setting your own prices there. So yeah, you probably should raise the price. Just go ahead and give yourself that raise. If you're a multi-op, they may realize that the DJ's wage is not what they're paying, and they're trying to compensate a little there, which is quite all right too. Let's see another one. So someone says we're high in our area but low compared to others. So we've been getting many shows in other parts of the state. So this reminds me of something that actually Dr. Drax told me, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe at a Chicago convention. He was telling me to raise my rates, and we are geographically located on the border of Illinois and Iowa. So we are, 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive from Chicago. And he's like, well, if you got $500 more, would you work in Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
point was well taken. You know, it was yes and no. It's like, no, I'm too lazy to drive there, but I get your point. So the point was well taken. So there is money out there, and you can travel for it as well.
For sure.
How do you find a new DJ? I'm not the guy to ask about finding a new DJ.
Yeah, exactly. There's some
$200 tips, yes. Relocating to new market, figuring out your price is probably very similar. There are some regional differences, but for the most part, you know, it's consistent. So we have the internet. We have these wonderful DJ news shows, DJ TV. We have conventions. It's not like we're in bubbles anymore.
No, which we were. I would definitely say at one time, you could definitely see that we were in that bubble.
And, you know, you put it out there. You know, if it doesn't work, it's not set in stone. This is the other thing. People are scared. So any of these 3 techniques, you know, you can try them, because if you lower your rates again in the future because you don't think it's working, so what?
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to complain. If you booked one at the higher rate, you can decide what to do with them. Maybe, you know, if you don't necessarily have to do anything, but maybe, you know, you comp them something to make up for it. It's up to you. So demand equalization is what I was really saying there.
Yeah, and that's, you know, Drex and I we've talked about that in our little business segments, and he likes to use the figuring out the number of shows that you can do your nights, and if once you hit 80%, that's kind of your indicator that, okay, I booked 80% of my schedule. Now I can raise my rate a little bit because I'm able to cover my business expenses in essence, and go from there. So I think there's just a lot of ideas and concepts.
Yeah, and you know what? I have percentages I look at. At the end of the day, though, it's bottom line dollars left in the bank accounts are really my truest indicator of anything.
Yeah.
So never lose sight of that for other statistics.
For sure. And then there's always that aspect of being comfortable asking for or quoting prices, especially higher prices, because a number of times DJs are comfortable asking for $500, but boy, $550, they start to get that quiver in their voice and that little apologetic, you know, look in their eye. And
okay, it's scary. You know,
it is.
We've always been expensive for our market, and it's been scary every time we've raised the rate. It has. Last time it wasn't. When I had to terminate the DJ and we raised the price, I wasn't scared at all. Okay, there was a really good reason for it. Yeah. But anytime we're raising it before that, you know, is anyone going to pay it? And then lo and behold, they do. Or you get scared too quick. Maybe you get a couple of leads and they don't book, and that scares you off. Well, maybe they weren't the right leads to start with is the problem. I see a good question here on the chat from Reggie that says, what's a good price range for someone in it for over 25 plus years? I'm going to try not to offend. The thing I'll say is the years probably doesn't matter as much as you think they do.
Yep.
And it also depends what market. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about, we're going to focus on weddings for this and more corporate type events for the Mobile Beat seminar. But a lot of times the customer really doesn't care. They're only focused on the outcome of their one event.
Yep.
25 plus years only matters so much as they believe it affects the impact of their event. So that's up to your sales and marketing ability, not necessarily your performance ability. Give you an example, you know, we have DJs that have been in 1 to 2 years in the company, and we're still charging more than everyone else, including people that have 25 years experience. So it's all about end result. All that matters is what the client cares about. Beyond that, you're just kind of kidding yourself. You know, it is important to use it if you have it, right? You know, we're in our 21st year this year, and you know that is out there. And we will use that, but it's just, you know, it's one shot out of the gun, you know.
Yeah, I think sometimes we use that, you know, myself, we're pushing this is going to be by fall. I'll be 30 years in the DJ industry. Sometimes we get hung up on that because, you know, I've got 30 years of experience and yeah, as you say, it's all about what can I do for her or his event. And 30 years doesn't matter if I don't have the way to convey the benefit of my experience to them. How is it going to turn their event into a great event?
Okay, so we have a moment of preaching to the choir here, right? Everyone on this show probably cares enough this isn't an issue. They're here.
Yep.
But it's the same with the Mobile Beat convention, right? I've had some people I've invited to go with. And, well, what am I going to learn there? I've been in the industry 10, 20, you name it, years. right? It's the same thing there. But where was this? Here's a good one. Scott tells us how to sell against that. So if we don't have the experience and someone else is touting 25 years experience, Scott says, well, it could be 25 years of bad DJ.
Oh, for sure.
So that's how we sell against this. So what? That guy has more experience than us. He's been doing the same thing for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen that DJ. I mean, he is in all of our markets. There's that guy. It's the same routine he did back in the 90s as he did in the early 2000s, and here he is.
Yeah, so we got to keep an eye on that as well. But I'm a sales and marketing guy, number one. So you kind of sell what you have, right? You sell your unique benefits, and there's a counterpoint on everything. It's just a debate.
Yeah, exactly. You can spin it left or you can spin it right, as long as you're spinning.
Just keep it positive while you're spinning.
There you go. Yep.
All right. Shall we talk a little about this number 3? Then?
Let's go to number 3. Yep, we're getting to that point. We need to hit that one, so we want to give it time to breathe.
You mean I shouldn't go 1, 2, and come see me at Mobile Beat to get number 3? All right. No. Number 3, and this one is huge, and it's a huge shift, so it's not going to be right for everyone. This is called extreme value proposition. So number 1 is kind of 2 parts. You hear a lot, especially if you're staying educated on this, about value-based pricing, the value we bring to the event, right? So that's part of this. If we're bringing value, we should charge accordingly. The second part of it, though, is what are we offering? And this is where people are not good. So if I can shift gears a little bit from wedding to corporate, because it's so much more obvious on corporate. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't care if it's a social corporate event or a marketing type corporate event. It doesn't really matter. So when they're calling for a DJ, what are they looking for? Someone calls you, John, looking for a DJ for a big corporate gala or open house or something. What are they really calling for?
Most of the time they're calling for someone to do music and maybe make a couple of announcements. And
yeah, so you're exactly right. What they're calling for is, a sliver, mm-hmm. and doesn't require a lot of talent, and also doesn't provide a whole lot of value. They want background music, maybe a PA system, a microphone.
Yeah.
And we can try and sell them some other things. Maybe we have add-ons, a game show or another entertainer or you name it, something like that. But even doing that and adding things on, we're still missing the big picture. And the big picture is, why are they having the event in the first place? Mm-hmm. And if we don't go there, we're still pigeonholed. And there is a bridge to gap. And this is where I'll spend more time at Mobile Beat. But we have to figure out what the bigger picture is, what role they want us to play in it, how we can jump into playing this role in their event. Because face it, we're all more qualified than most people that are planning the event. I mean, we see events every weekend, if not more. We've seen things flop. We've seen them excel. There's no reason that we can't play a bigger role. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of 3 steps to doing so. The first step is we have to figure out what their pain is. So I hate to go here, but I had a I had a license to sell like health and life insurance for a while. Okay. Which, by the way, I never sold any, but it's excellent sales training. It really is. So one of the things you're trained that they can't really ever say, but it's underlining everything is, what's the person's pain? Why are they calling you in the first place? What are they trying to avoid? Which, by the way, if we just go Psych 101, pain versus pleasure, we do a lot more to avoid pain than we do to seek pleasure.
For sure.
So if we're trying to add on something to the event to make it a better event, yeah, we stand a chance, but we miss the bigger motivation, which is, what's the event exist for? What are we trying to avoid? Which a lot of times is, I'm planning the event for my boss. I don't want to lose my job.
Yep, exactly.
So we had to figure out what the pain is. What's going on? What are they trying to solve? If it's a marketing event, we're probably trying to solve a lack of customers for their business. We're trying to keep our dealers more involved. Something. It depends what it is. Figure out what the pain is, and we'll talk through a lot of steps about how to do that. And the next step, though, is we have to unpigeonhole ourselves. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and it sounds derogatory towards the industry, but the DJ, if they think of you as a DJ in this setting, is bad. It's small. It's the guy that comes and plays music like we talked about.
Right.
So we need a way to communicate more value and that we can do more for them. And we have to get to a trusted advisor status is what we have to do. So if we're looking at weddings, a wedding planner would be a trusted advisor.
For sure.
Look at this vendor. We've worked with them. So how do we bridge that gap? And we really, there's a few ways to do it. We really have to be careful about it though. I'll give you one. And at Mobile Beat, I'm going to go through an example of how we took a photo booth lead, which is like, I don't know, a $600 booking. It was a pretty basic lead. And we ended up quoting a $22,000 event. But the gist of it was my frontline sales rep on that missed it. He missed the pain. He had, the only reason this touched my desk is because he had a question about how to price it because it was a little weird with hours and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which my response to him was, well, why are we there? Especially for these weird hours and so many hours. Why? And it turned out that they were trying to be higher profile in a larger event and they needed help with that. Well, it just so happens that, the president of our company, me, offers, he's a marketing consultant. So we got to play a little, we had two people. It's harder when it's one, but he was able to say that, hey, I put this on my boss's desk and he had some unique ideas for you overall. And then we were able to re-conference call with them again with that in mind. So that's one possible technique way to do it. But it changed the whole conversation, right?
For sure.
And even if you don't have another person in, you can say you're an event consultant or an entertainment consultant or whatever, and see if it's worth going there. So we got to get to trusted advisor, though. And you have to have a lot of ducks in a row and everything lined up. Because it's like trust with anything else. Trust with the relationship, trust with employment, anything. Once trust is broken, it's gone. So there's a lot of things people look for, and we'll dig into those in Mobile Beat. And then the third part is a solution presentation. We have to be able to communicate this value to them in a way that makes sense to them. I don't know how deep I can go into this because we don't have a ton of time, but it's features versus benefits again. So if we're selling stuff, pros, we're not going to get the high dollars we want. We're certainly not going to put a zero behind the end of what we were quoting for price.
Yes.
If we can frame everything we present to their unique pain and how it solves it, first off, we're probably the only person doing it. So we're in a category of one, which is a great place to be. But second, you're speaking their language.
Yeah.
And if you don't have someone on the other side of that call, if your prospect doesn't get that and doesn't speak that language, it doesn't matter. None of this conversation matters. But the problem is most of us never try. Mm-hmm. We don't see it because we don't try. We don't know to try. We answer the question they give us rather than giving them the question they should be asking. You have to learn how to lead that conversation in a different direction. Like we're doing with this interview. We've gotten off track twice now.
It happens.
Looking to see if we had any other comments there.
No, I think they're just kind of settled.
They're having a party in the chat box.
They do. They have a good time with that. Justin, we're almost out of time. If people have some questions and such or want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Okay, so email justin@profit911.biz. If you're, remember how I prefaced this with you need to have more leads coming in the door, or not more, you just need a steady flow of them.
The lead system.
If you're having trouble with that, there's a half-day workshop at Mobile Beat in addition to what I'm doing. It's Thursday afternoon. Email me. I'll get you info. I have some half-price things and other things, so email me. I'll get you what you need to know about that. And everything you need to know about this process will be on the standard seminar I'm doing on Thursday morning for everyone.
Very cool. Too busy picking his nose after then typing. Too much information, Scott. Just saying. Just too much. Good stuff. We need to bounce along here. Justin, excited. Mobile Beat's right around the corner. The link for the full schedule is down in the description below. You guys can go check that out and get in touch if you have questions. Otherwise, pop out and plan to see him Thursday morning and probably see him Thursday afternoon. Good stuff.
I'm excited about it. This is a good lineup this year.
Yeah.
The year to go if you haven't been in a while.
Yeah, they've done a nice job with it, so it'll be a lot of fun. So, gang, show 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we're up to show 3. Trevor, I think, is next. Trevor West in just a few minutes. So links down below. We'll see you in about 5 minutes.